So all of you sun, moon, and rising Pisces people, I've been under a huge amount of change. That's basically it. And because it's angular, it could have been career changes, home changes, and changes in your relationship to a significant partner in your life. And this has been ongoing for a while.
Lunatic astrology.
Hello, Pisces, sun, moon, and rising. The month of August is delicious for you because you are moving at the end of a cycle of eclipses into something brand new. You've been under the eclipse energy for 2 whole years, going through the Pisces real estate, and you're probably a bit tired of it. And now you're going to say goodbye at last with the last eclipse for 18 years from the North Node perspective in your sign. But at the very same time, we have a new energy picking up steam, a total solar eclipse that's going to rock through your money realm. It can activate new career opportunities, finances, and job situations. You look like you're going to rise up to a new level of professional advancement, and there's going to be more prosperity emerging for you over the course of the next year. And this all begins in the month of August. Venus is going to give you some superior blessings as she moves into her own sign. We're going to break that down for you as well. Ultimately, Pisces, because Venus exalts you, you got to pay attention to not only what she does, but what Lord Jupiter does. Jupiter is the ruler of your sign. Yes, not Neptune. And he's embedded within that total solar eclipse on August the 12th. Welcome to my channel. My name is Lothian. This is Lunatic Astrology, and we're talking all about the Western tropical zodiac, not sidereal. We're also going to bring your attention today to the fact that I am a sky teacher. I talk about astrology and I teach it. If you want to learn with me in September, it's my 7th season teaching Sky Reader. To be an astrologer, time your best life. Yes, learn to read your natal chart sky. And if you come to join me in that class, we're going to have weekly Q&As, a Discord group, a Facebook group, 7 weeks long, starting September 19th, running every Saturday morning. Pacific time. You can watch the replays, keep the content forever. We have guest teachers every year. I have 5 this year. Lectural astrology, how to choose the date to do something auspicious, like get married or whatever. How to do your medical astrology as a general overview, and other kinds of astrological learnings. If this is of any interest to you, then join me in Sky Reader this fall. I'm going to put a video at the end of this longer 30 minutes of the all signs where I talk about the course in depth, show you the website, that kind of thing. So hopefully you'll join me on that as well, like just to suss it out. Otherwise, look in the description box and I'll pin to the comments the enrollment page. By the end of July, the deep super early bird discount 40% code is over. You might still grab it, or it's not even a code, it's just the price. And it goes up slightly in the month of August as well, but you'll still have a discount. So hopefully you'll grab that as well, because in September it'll go into the full price mode. All right, guys, the sky, the sky, the sky. I'm having a day. It is a story. The first thing you might have noticed about reality, beginning in the fall, in like August, September of 2024, is that with that first eclipse, North Node, Pisces eclipse, that your life began to make significant changes. You didn't choose them. There was no steering wheel. These are the nodes of fate and destiny. And then by January of 2025, and then with a big lunar eclipse in the fall, like the one we're having this year, you are also under that energy field of change. And the changes have been along the axis of your house of you, your identity, and your other. Now, sun, moon, and rising, that sun is your true self. Rising sign is your simulation avatar character, the true self. The sun plays the character, but sun is career and purpose-ish, and the moon is your home, your nest, but your thinking, feeling complex. So anyway, so all of you sun, moon, and rising Pisces people, I've been under a huge amount of change. That's basically it. And because it's angular, it could have been career changes, home changes, and changes in your relationship to a significant partner in your life. And this has been ongoing for a while. Now, here's the thing. It depends on where you are in your journey, because sometimes your sun sign will be more strong if you're maybe over your mid 40s, but the rising sign is often very ecliptic. It gets activated in the eclipse cycle. And so because the North Node was moving through Pisces and now no longer is, you were expanding in a way. You are reaching for what it is you want to be and to become, and who you want to be in this world as a character in the simulation. And you were letting go of attachments to other people. any other people in your life as you were focused more and more on you. And so, well, some of you might have found that easy and lovely. A lot of you might have found it was a bit of a turbulent story. I have a Pisces friend who got a soulmate relationship started then because he was found his kindergarten sweetheart or whatever it was back in his life. And there's a sense that you could have brought fated business partners, audience members, and love partners into your life from past lives, that suddenly these new people showed up and they had an important role in your life for 2 years. So that is ending. And in August, you're on a new story. And we're going to bring that sky up and show you the new story. Okay, so let's get going. So we had to back context you on that because the context is everything. You're coming off the burner hot plate of the ecliptic cycle. Let's start off with August 2nd. It doesn't really matter. The first 5 days of August. The first 5 days of August, nothing happens. It's just this mini trine, which is kind of transpersonal and huge, flowing between the houses of your voice, your speech, your money, your home, your nest, where you belong, and also flowing up to your house of spiritual awakening and also distant shores and lands. And this thing has been floating around for a couple months, and it's going to be back next year. And it's just finishing up the barbell basket we all talked about in July. So that aside, the first thing you'll notice is that the first thing that happens, right, is going to be a solar story. This is going to be the sun, the big bright light of the sun in the sign of Leo. And it's going to be an awakening story, illuminating story of Saturnian matters, money. This is your money house. This is your earnings. This is your resources. This is your pocketbook. This is debts. This is possessions. There's something going on around an illuminating moment here where around the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th of August, you could find yourself having a square, realistic, a sober assessment regarding financial matters and connected to debts, debt repayments, debt owed, rental properties, payments, income, things to do with matters of pets, and maybe even something to do with job and work. Now, because Jupiter rules your 10th house of job, career, work stories in that work house, some of you Pisces may be having some interesting developments around finances and work. You look like you could be feeling contracted about a little bit about money or worried or anxious or just stalled out. Saturn is retrograde and he's also fallen here. He'll be retrograde till December and then he'll turn forward. But at the same time, where the money story can feel maybe you're working hard, disciplined, and structured in order to make money, for example, or maybe you just have some contraction around finances and some uncertainty and fogs of confusion. And all of that is to say that's getting a light on it, right? The sunlight is shining there backwards towards it. So now you're going to have more clarity, more light, and more sense of what's possible on your financial front. Because of Uranus's position as well as Mars at this time, the first week of August could lend you to look for or secure a new home, and this would likely be a rental property based on the sky. So some of you may want to rent a home out in your room in your home, or rent out your home, or move to a rental property. Those stories look very strong for things you're noticing or trying to create and move into being on the first week of August, the whole first week of August. The next thing to pay attention to here is after we move through this solar light shining on the money from this house here, is this. We're going to notice that Venus is the goddess of money, the goddess of love, the goddess of beauty. And what does she do? She wants to talk to Neptune and Pluto. Now, Pluto can bring wealth, but Neptune is interesting. Okay. So Venus is like moved into Libra, where she's in her home kingdom, which is powerful and positive. She enters into this kingdom of Libra, her home territory, on August the 6th through to September 10th. Before that, she was in the sign of Virgo, and that would have been going on for quite a long time, around July the 9th until August the 6th. Therefore, you had a lot of focus on people in your life, maybe women, maybe long-term love relationship, maybe business partners, or maybe how you were serving your client's audience and marketplace. Now she's moving into a money house and is a money goddess, and she's in the sign of justice, equality, and balance, harmony, and the scales of commerce. Here she sits looking at Neptune. There's a bit of a moment of trying to be not confused or more certain or undiluted about financial matters. Because when she's here and Neptune's retrograde, pulling back confusing fog and giving you a potential to see what's really there, you're having a kind of tally of money matters. Now, because she's in the eighth house in her home sign, she's positive and it can bring some success financially in terms of taxes, investments, inheritances, spousal support monies, whenever you give it or receive it. And she's favoring you in that story August the 6th to September the 10th. When she is also here, and later on she'll be opposite Saturn, we'll get to that later. There's a lot about your money and reality and sober realism and responsibility and duty that you're thinking of. If you're married, this is also money that your spouse has, that the in-laws have, or that you share together, and realistic appraisals of that shared resource money as well. And when we move past that story, that first week of August, because we're heading for that eclipse on the 12th, so stay tuned. That's the real reason you're here, but you have to slog through every little detail with me because that's how I operate. My God, other people do 20-minute videos for each time for the month ahead, and I can't figure out how they can possibly, in a million years, pull that off. All right, so the next week we're going to pay attention. Lori's rattling her notes just to annoy you. Mercury opposite Pluto reveals what is hidden, something you can't see, something that was hidden, something you want to know. He's like the information man, right? So here goes Mr. Info into InfoWars, into your sixth house, and he's opposite Pluto, that which is cloaked, hidden, or underneath the surface. And you're uncovering. You're revealing something. It's being revealed to you. Now, because it has to do with debts or property rental or pets. This is what the uncovering is about, perhaps, right? And where Pluto is sitting with the North Node can indicate far off lands and foreign shores, people from those places, and information exchange going on and uncovering of some information that you need, like it's a need to know basis. But because Mercury rules your home and where you live and your domicile and where you sleep at night, this is where I'm going back to that. This is very much signing a rental agreement or dealing with rental properties. But this would indicate it's kind of like wherever you were born, it's far off from where you're born. So it's a far off land from the place of birth, right? Not necessarily anything else, but there may be that kind of desire to negotiate. But what's being shown to you is what you need to know in order to properly negotiate. And Saturn is ruling that, so it can be about uncovering the expenses that you'd have if you were to truly say rent a place like that, really looking deep under the surface before making an agreement happen. Venus is in a love up with the universe in this sky. She's going to be in flow mode to everybody. This is a wealth yoga. Venus is trining Pluto. What do you do with that around August the 9th? You could gin up some money. This could come from distant shores, far off lands, backroom deals and negotiations. You're not necessarily earning that money. It could be an investment. It could be money from a sibling, 3 older or 3 younger. It could be money connected to the in-laws or your significant other. And this is prosperity and wealth that flows with ease, okay? And an increase in wealth as well. When we counter her forward and get her moving forward, look what else she does. She's hooking up to everybody. This girl is happy. First of all, she's going to be flowing for a happy money surprise or happy surprise around property, land, and real estate. And that flow is August the 11th. You're going to notice it a day or two before and after. And it's also harkening back to Jupiter and Mercury in your sixth house of debts, homes, rentals. You could secure a refinancing. You could pay down a mortgage. You could eliminate a debt. You could be released from a debt you owe, surprisingly, and that is spousal support for some of you. You could also find there's a surprising bit of money coming from the family of origin. And finally, you could just surprisingly have money coming through, but it may involve property for some reason. And I'm seeing rental opportunity more than anything with that rental property, sixth house indentured servitude, anyone, leasing stuff, being so busy. Look at how that busy. Some of you are renting property in the month of August, or you could be renting a room in your home. Just keep it in mind. It's lots of ways we rent. Rent the tool shed out back, rent your parking spot, that kind of stuff. So Venus is getting engaged with most of the planets, and she is a benefic in her own sign. So I'm not minding the vibe mid-August so far. Her Uranus surprise particularly feels awesome, this divine flow here, and Pluto in the backdrop as well is potent and transformative flow on the financial front. Sometimes when Venus is in the eighth house, we get involved in secret love affairs, and that could be something that you're engaging with Pluto also in a very hidden place. And so transformative secret love partnerships may be emerging in the life of some of you guys, not all of you, around the middle of August. When we move forward, we talk about Mercury and Jupiter joining hands right here. This is good news. This is good news. This is good deals. This is commercial deal making success, for example, like sealing the deal, kind of, oh my God, the art of the deal. I'm having the hardest time securing your sign. I really am. Let's get us back, way back here, so we don't keep losing Pisces. So, the art of the deal, debt negotiations, refis, winning, getting a deal made or agreements signed or commerce agreements made again. But it could be property rental or maybe with Venus up here, property sale. Those things are really going on. You might want to buy a possession. This is the house of possessions, and Saturn's sort of looking over at it. We need that possession. We need that car. We need that thing we want to buy. But this is making the deal to secure the thing you need. Okay, so there's a deal making vibe going on here. Good news about your health, challenges with your health, and good news about your health. It could be very good news about your teeth as well, where Saturn's giving you some probably teeth or jaw trouble at this time. And this could be a turning point of good news about health and teeth in August, particularly around the middle of the month, particularly around the date of that perfect conjunction around the 15th. On August the 16th, Venus is loving up Jupiter. Did I talk about the eclipse or did I bypass your eclipse? Let's go back. I can't remember if I talked about it. It's been a long day. Yeah, you had that total solar eclipse here. It would have been at 20 degrees of your sixth house of work. And on August the 12th, it is inclined to move you into a new line of professional advancement, work, and earnings over the course of the year that follows, or to a new wave of prosperity and success that you've never had before. You haven't had eclipses like this since 1990, and that's just to put the South Node Jupiter together there, but it's still not quite the same. And we haven't had a solar eclipse quite like this since 1971. So this is really going to change the way you work. Yes, in 2008 we had an eclipse here, and August as well that was solar. So there's ways that this is like then, but never the same twice. A lot of you want to let go of karmic debts and karmic debts, releasing yourself of debts, karmic and real, but you're also releasing yourself of certain kinds of servitude, job, employment structures, patterns in your life to break that down and free and let it go. Because this seems to be with Jupiter's rulership of your 10th house, an opportunity to advance into a new direction in your career. Jupiter could make you want to work in education, teaching, learning, guiding others. These are kinds of Jupiterian coaching professions. Some of you may be inclined. Mercury represents youth. You might want to work with youth in some kind of mediating or what do you call it, like guiding, learning, teaching environment, but it can definitely move you into a new kind of career that you've never really entertained before. That is one of the ways I see this playing. It's an eclipse, so it's not just a day in the life. It's really about what's building up 6 weeks before this eclipse, what builds up in the aftermath and follows through about a year later. And this total solar eclipse is important. You'll have another one here next summer. It'll be less intense. And so there's a 2 point deal, like the next 2 years, you're changing your professional direction, your earning structures, and what you consider to be your acts of service in the world. Your health should also change and hopefully for the better. And it's cardiovascular. If it's Leo, it's your blood, it's your heart, it's the whole heart pumping, blood moving stuff, and your feet and your heart changes in your health. I think they're good. Okay. But you got to let go of certain things that don't serve you. And that means you might make some changes to other parts of your life in order to be more healthy. So sorry, I almost forgot your eclipse, guys. We got another one coming, so hang in there. Okay, as we move toward the 16th to the 18th of the month, 16th to the 18th, Venus will sextile Jupiter. Well, this is like two lucky people getting together to get each other more luck, right? So fairy godfather and Venus, fairy godmother, are in a flow state. Well, I can't imagine it's not good for your money. I just can't. Because this is that chunky money house. Yes, it's occult mysteries and spiritual awakening and debts and indebtedness meet that. And maybe it's this opportunity to refinance, eliminate a debt, to get legal justice around court cases and legal separations, marriages, alimony, spousal support, and a change of structure. But whatever it is, also, Jupiter here in this energy field with Venus is extremely lucky. And it can be extremely good for you if you've been working with financial debt situations. You may be able to consolidate debt, remove debt, eliminate debt. And debts owed to you can be repaid. Mercury rules the house of debts owed to you by a spouse, debts owed to you by a business partner, or debts owed to you by a sibling, three older or younger than you in birth order, right? Three above you or below you in order in birth, and debt repayment, so to speak. Some of you could get a pet out of this as well if you want a pet. So that little window of time that we're talking about, pet time. Okay, maybe some of you do want a pet. Now, that August is 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th is also accompanied by a square from Mars to Neptune to dispel you of any illusions and delusions that you might be harboring about certain factors of your life, and mostly money. Money, earnings, and resources, wallet, pocketbook. Mars is squaring off there. He's letting you know that there's something that needs to be paid attention to. Neptune's letting him know that he's pulling back the fog as well in retrogradation. So now it's money connected to children, money connected to investments, gambling, and speculation, money connected to romantic love partners, and clarity around the financial structures, including money connected to your and decisions you need to make regarding entrepreneurial businesses. And there's a clear new direction that Mars wants to take you in. Let's bring up Mars for a minute. Mars will be in his detriment in a sign of fall as he's moving into that part of your chart. And that's where you're going to find yourself in a very passionate direction. Now, you have to be careful here. I'm going to really warn you of a few things. Okay, let me find the chart. Mars gets in here on August the 11th and leaves on September 28th. This is competitive. This is like your competitive spirit could be up. You might like to win and play games of chance. Sure, be careful. Don't speculate on wild gambling money wise, because this is where gambles will not pay off. He's in his condition of fall. Okay. And he's actually squaring a fallen Saturn. This is my warning. Gambling, well, bingo hole, maybe nothing big. Don't go for that stock tip. It won't work. You're going to fail at it. This is no risk taking on the financial front, please, especially if you feel like it's taking a risk or it's gambling. When it comes to sexual love and romance, this is the thing. You could be extremely passionate, extremely into it, extremely hot. You know what I mean? You're in like the hot water end of the Cancer swimming pool, and things are pretty sultry right now. And he's in a broad square to Venus, and Venus is in the house of hidden love, secret love, covert love, or something like that. But the thing about that, Mars is fallen. And so there's a cautionary note here for you to be careful if you're engaging in a secret or hidden love story. It's not that it's secret that's a problem. It's just that Mars's passion and ardor can outweigh considerations that are realistic and reasonable. So, for example, a square like that forming between these planets, not exact, it will never be exact, but it's still there, can be a relationship that is inherently out of balance from the beginning. And like, so that dating story, you get hot and under the collar, get into bed with that person, and it may not work out. So just, but nothing wrong, just nothing ventured, nothing gained. But otherwise, watch for your children. This is Mars in the house of your children. And he's going to be here, as I said, till September 28th. They may be going through some difficulties. They may be going through some times of hardship. They may have a struggle in their life. They may be wanting to move away from home, for example, or out of a home that they're currently living in. You're flowing to them. You'll try to help your child. You're not going to like dispel them, but they may also have struggles with finances. So there's a way that you're engaging in a adult child, I hope, struggles as well. And during August, and it begins August the 11th and it completes on the September 28th. Okay. I want to go back for a minute. Jupiter did reset on July 26th or 7th or so. Maybe it was 29th, 28th, July 29th, 28th. Reset your work, money, earnings, and debt house. And that's going to be a reset that lasts a year. Okay. So there's a big reset. The button already happened before you began August. So a lot of changes happening there. All right. Let's finish up with the second eclipse and the conjunction of Mercury and the Sun. Mercury in the Sun is a reset button. You might get some news on that day of the 27th that may come barreling in. And as we're approaching this big news break, news flash energy, and we're on the way to that, Venus gets into a love is hard, money is hard moment. She's having a problem, but she's strong. She's in her home kingdom. And maybe around the 21st of the month, you're going to have to face the reality mirror over here about money, responsibility, duty, Saturn wants you to save money. He's here to help you save money until April of 28. So saving money, holding on to money, preserving capital, preserving wealth. And has a moment here with Saturn, and it's almost like get real moment, or get down with reality check and sober-minded realism. And so this is happening for you around August 21st. Yeah. All right. And it is what it is. You're going to have to pay attention to what the message is for you. With a square to Saturn, you can't keep financing your kids if that's the problem, or your lover, or some kind of, you can't keep taking financial risks anymore. She's going to help you see the path forward around August the 21st. Then on the 27th, Mercury will move into the sun's heart, the day before the eclipse. It's going to happen here in your seventh house of committed love. I apologize. This guy is going to drive me nuts. I am losing your sign so frequently. It's going to happen in your house of committed long-term relationships and love. I apologize. And it is a part where Mercury is information, contracts, and agreements, dotted lines and signing, and the sun is going to be with him. And this is going to happen the day before the eclipse. It's going to happen at 4 degrees. If your ascendant or your sun and moon is at 4 degrees of Pisces, you're really feeling it. Give a few degrees on either side. And the energy is of a negotiation. It can be a verbal agreement, it can be a document, it can be a written or a legal agreement. And it's going to be a reset button, and you're going to see the fruitfulness of it through to November the 4th. Okay. So it's something you reset now. It comes off of the July the 12th Kazemi. Okay, the couple of days around July the 12th, something happened. And that thing that happened around July the 12th, a couple of days before or after, now is going to fulfill itself as an agreement, or fruiting as an agreement with someone else. It could be a business partner, it could be a long-term love partnership, it could be with a very important person in your life. It can involve document signing, but it may just be verbal. This is a discussion, this is an agreement. And there may be some suggestion here that it could also involve a sense of debt, real or karmic, right? Agreements, legal, debts, karmic, all of those things are entwined. So pay attention for that reset button. Then the next day in Pisces is the last eclipse. The moon will move into your sign. And as it does, it will enter 5 degrees opposite the sun, the state of being in a partial lunar eclipse. If you go back to September of 24, September of 25, here we are again. But this time the North Node is no longer in your sign. It's not all about you. It's about your 12th house. It's about far off lands and distant places. It trines your fourth. You could be moving. It's about hospitals. It's about jails. It's about situations where someone you know might be ill in a hospital, has died in a hospital. Sorry, guys, I have to be realistic, because that eclipse is happening up to 4 weeks before and 6 months after. I bring that up because wealth can be generated from what looks like inheritance money as this is happening. So some of you might be coming into money. It could be money from someone in a family of origin setting that includes siblings. Now, it would likely be for most of you not that. This is more like you are generating the last of an eclipse cycle that you're going to have again in 18 years. You had it in 2006, 7, that is finishing up here. And you've been trying to find a new identity, a new way of being, a new career path, a new emotional set point over the last 2 years. And now the North Node's in the 12th house. There's some good news. You can make money in an international place. You could travel to another country and earn money. You could work for an international company. You could make a change of residence to a far off land or international shore. You can do digital income and borderless revenue. And with Jupiter in your sky, it's connected often to your work. It's your work can lead you to making money internationally in some way. You won't know the answer till 6 months after this eclipse. Don't expect it in the day of a life up. There's many more factors here that I won't have a chance to go into. So please like and subscribe and follow all of my videos, including my specific eclipse video on this eclipse. All right, moving down the pipeline. The eclipse also generates a surprise. That's that Sun square Mercury. Mercury, well, the sun square Uranus, a sudden shocking change of home, a sudden shocking change of relationship status, a sudden shocking change of career path as well. All of that's embedded within the archetype of the eclipse. You might want to work hard, but be prosperous. You might want to apply your patience and perseverance to bounty and success. That's because the last part of the month, August 27th to September 2nd. There's a lot of flow between Jupiter and Saturn, money incrementally increasing over time, connected to lucky opportunities in debt relief, work, pets, situations, and rental properties. Maybe you can secure a rental property that's quite affordable and you save money from where you were. Maybe there's going to be some prosperity connected to an opportunity in work from the past, a job from the past returns to you, says retrograde Saturn. And so there's this vibe in the last week of August into the first part of September. At the very end, Mars will square Saturn for the last reality check. Something's got to give here. If you have a lot of struggle with being overly responsible for a child or a romantic partner in any way, especially around finances, then you're going to break path away from that. You're going to have a kind of, not eruption, but a kind of final. Is that your final answer? You say to that child or your lover or something, there's a final answer moment. This is a conversation, it might be difficult with a child, with a romantic lover partner. This energy is around August the 30th. I don't know what it is about, but it also squares Venus, which usually means money issues as well. But it can be a break about sexuality, intimacy, and romance with somebody in a conversation. There's that potential with the square to Venus in the 8th house of sexual intimacy. All right, thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And check out this next video where I talk for a short bit about the Sky Reader class so you know more about it from me, right from the horse's mouth, in case you want to join us in September. Take care, everybody. I'll see you soon. Every year I teach Sky Reader in the fall. It's always in September. It's usually 6 weeks long. And this time we're going for 7. We're taking it a little slower, giving you a very kind of leg up first week, which we take the pieces of the sky and teach you to read them in a very constructive and well-paced manner. This is my favorite class to teach. When I teach Sky Reader, I always feel so excited because you have learned to read your own sky. You now know what your chart is all about, and you know how to read the basic language of astrology for your friends, family, and your children, whoever you want to share it with. No, we're not professionally certifying you. At Lunatic Astrology, and I'm your teacher, Lori Lothian, we're teaching you to fish so that when you listen to me on YouTube and you're getting all of that guidance, maybe you can also get your own. We don't want to move against the sky. We want to move with the sky. We want to move in the area of our lives that brings us flow and ease because the sky supports that. And by having a knowledge of what the sky is saying and relative to our own natal sky, we are able to operate at a new level. That level is about flow. It is about not arguing with what is happening and moving in the direction of what wants to happen. It is so darn simple. Life is full of ups and downs, but if you know that there's a swamp, 2 doors away, and if you walk that way, you're going to get stuck in quicksand, you can avoid that. If you go to the left instead of the right, there's a beautiful meadow with a lake. Why not take that path? The sky is always grabbing us. It's called the grahas or the grabbers. The planetary planets, like where they're going in the sky, the transits, that moving heavens, the moving stars, the map of time is a map of where we should avoid getting stuck and where we may move forward with freedom. And the grabber part of planets is that they're almost like celestial teasers, right? They want to grab us and make us move in a direction. Sometimes it's not in our highest and best good. And I don't mean in a conscious, malefic way. I just mean you can take something like Neptune and make it all about transcendence and spiritual union and high creativity and imagination. And you could take it all the way down to drug addiction, and destitution maybe, and even things to do with mental challenges, health challenges. So you can operate at all levels of every planet. In Sky Reader, we show you your highest potential. Now, this is an introductory class. If you want to come to Sky Reader to be your own astrologer and time your best life, then you're coming because you are curious astrologically. You're not coming because you've already taken some heavyweight courses under your belt. You're coming because you've been listening to my channel or other astrologers, and you've always had a curiosity about learning, and you always want to learn to read the sky, which is the map of time. So I'm hoping some of you will come join me there because I've graduated hundreds of students so far, and the feedback is wonderful. And I invite all of my students, former, to come back every year and play around in redoing the course for 75% off, because I think the more you do it, the more you deepen it. We have guest teachers every year. When you join Sky Reader, you get the archived vault. In other words, you can go back and watch other guest classes in astrocartography, the astrology of relocation, and things to do with zodiacal releasing and more. We have these guest teachers coming in this year. So much fun. We have a guest teacher about the love codes, Donnie Lim of astrology, learning to read your Venus story. We have a guest teacher coming in about medical or wellness astrology. We have have another one showing us about how to choose the perfect day to do something, day and time to like launch your website, get married. That's called electional astrology. We have what's your purpose, dharma kind of thing with another teacher. So what we're doing is we're giving you a lot of content. What you're doing is you're taking time to learn, but also to hold on to that content forever. It is evergreen. Once you have it, you never don't have it. If it's over your head at first, you won't be over your head when you take a second stab at it. Weekly Q&As, different time zones, so we can get people around the world in those Q&As. We alternate between evening and night every second week on Wednesday nights, and usually they're at 5:30 or 6 p.m. Pacific time. We also have the idea that the class itself is now happening at 9:30 a.m. in Pacific time on Saturday, starting on the 19th of September. So that's wonderful. We have a Facebook group and a Discord group that we have moderators running where you can meet other people who are learning astrology, share your notes, and get to meet some new astrologically curious friends. Who knows? You might meet your soulmate there. And we're also taking you through a journey that is sequential, from learning to read the sky to being able to use two very profound timing tools to help you understand your reality and begin to move forward with ease and grace. The feedback from Sky Reader year after year has been phenomenal, and every time I teach it, I learn to make it more simple, more well-paced, and more easy for you to grasp. So I'm in 7 years of doing this. I think I'm getting it down finally to a fine art thanks to you guys. I'm going to show you the website just so you see what it looks like. I'm now moving most of my content to LoriLothian.com. It used to be somewhere else at Padaya. If you're there already, nothing is taken away from you. At this point, though, I'll show you the new website so you can take a gander at what the sky looks like over there, what my site looks like. And I hope to see some of you in class. I always say this, and I'm not making this up. You might probably think, oh, that's a sales pitch. Oh, I might not teach this next year. That's not true. I always wonder if I'm just going to retire and start to write books. And my agent wants me to write a book. And so I have a lot on my plate to get done in this life. Legacy is to leave a book behind. So for me, when I say I may not teach this next year, Lori may not teach this next year. Okay. All right. So this is the website, LoriLothian.com. If you go /sky-reader, you'll be at the introduction to the course and the enrollment page. We're on a discount code right now until the end of July. What's not a code? It's just a discount. There's 40% off the full price. And then in August, depending on when you hear this, there'll be another lower price, not as discounted as July's early enrollment price, but by September, it will go to full price. So make sure that you get in this class with a discount if that's something you're looking for. So you can see this beautiful website was created by my team. I think it's gorgeous. Learn to read your sky. And then there's a preview of what we have going on. So when you get into the course backdrop and you're there, you're going to have like stuff already waiting for you, a little tutorial on how to cast your chart and whole sign houses, free minis of the 12 houses PDF. And I have what I call your Astro Toolkit. And I'm always adding more stuff to that toolkit. You don't need a professional software. You can use Astrocom, astro-seek.com, time passages. These are free softwares. This is not requiring you to purchase professional software in order to learn in my course. And you'll see that we have the toolkit here. These are elements that go in, how to cast your chart and whole sign houses. These are already in the back end of the program. Your cheat sheet pack, 12 signs, 12 houses guide. This is just learning tools. This is all going to help you learn. For most classes, I'll be putting together a handbook to help guide you through each class, which is new this year, kind of a prompts, a questions, things to fill out so that you can use it as a kind of self-study tool, just print it out on a PDF on a computer. I'll aim to keep it black and white, of course, so you don't have to worry about color. And then we see that the Astrology 101 is we set you up really slowly. I call it the slow start, where we're really going to build the basic building blocks together so that when you come off of week one, you are like someone who went to kindergarten to learn the alphabet. You're going to have the basics in your toolkit, in your understanding already. And then we talk about the various parts of the sky, the big four, the 12 houses, dignity matters. Planets have dignity. You want to understand that. Otherwise, there's nothing you're going to understand without that. Dignity matters. We're also using whole sign houses, and this is ancient Hellenistic astrology. The focus will not be on the outer planets because we can't use them as time lords. And so it's not that there's anything wrong with the outer planets, but they're not good for timing your best life. Unless you want to live 248 years, says Pluto, 164 years, says Neptune, or 84 years, says Uranus. They're not the most timely tools, right? Solar returns is one of the things we do, and we learn about the perfection ages. Now, you may think I know all about my solar return and my perfection age. I don't think you do. I embed in some advanced tools there for you that you won't probably find anywhere else after like 8 years and thousands of clients, nonstop teaching and seeing real clients in the trenches. I have figured a few things out, and I always like to share what I figured out with you guys so that you can also use those tools the way I do. There's always bonus content here. And so you get from me, not to use until you've taken Sky Reader, the birthday chart advanced course as your solar return, the annual perfections advanced course, and how to find people in your chart. Where's my mom? Where's my kids? Where's my husband? Where's my siblings? How to find the planets that represent those people in your chart. That is also a part of a course that I've taught that I give you as a part of your bonus toolkit. Okay, so I hope you guys will go over. I hope you'll have fun if you come to study with me. I would love to see you there. When I talk about teaching, without a doubt, it is my favorite thing to do. It gives me a joy, actually. I remember years ago, I went to see a psychic reader in Coquitlam, Canada. That's outside of Vancouver. She looked at me as I walked in the room. This is like 15 years ago. And she said, "Teacher, teacher, teacher, you are a teacher." At the time, I was a magazine editor and a writer, and I had no idea what she was talking about. And look at her today. She was right 15 years later. That is my passion. That is what I do. Hope you'll join me. I'll see you guys in Sky Reader, and let's have some fun learning together. Everyone have a very good, wherever you are, day, month, or year.
Lunatic astrology.